That's it.
Ray, would you lead us off in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Diane.
Okay, so we have one resolution. We weren't able to take this up, unfortunately, at the town board meeting because we were still waiting for insurance policies. Now we have them. So the folks that are listed here are going to be the only vendors that are going to be permitted to sell alcohol under our open container law, and we are going to make sure and be checking to make sure that they have permits from SLA to do this, and anybody that doesn't have, and we're going to take copies of those permits is what I'm going to require the chief to do. And
Well, I think that's part of the haste to have it today is because I think you need a 3-week lead time in order
To
to get
get the
these,
permit.
get these permits, so it's
They were-
getting close.
it was a little slow on getting the insurance
Well,
policies from them.
it's a new step, actually, and then
Okay,
it's
thank
almost-
you.
Come on up, Mr.
Almost
McCormick.
prohibitive,
These are,
actually.
the maps are attached to these, is what Dan is telling me. So that's the resolution that should be.
Yeah, we,
I want to personally thank Dan because he, Jill
this
said
down?
to me that he's gone above and beyond the call of duty to get these insurance
I can
policies,
see the body of it.
to work with,
always does that.
to work with the businesses.
We're lucky
oh,
to don't have
yeah,
Dan.
one more.
Thank you. Appreciate the recognition.
I
So-
didn't mean you, the other Dan. I'm sorry.
So I think we're in good shape.
Now,
And-
these businesses that are listed here are businesses that have responded to all the requests of the town and all that.
They have
Are there
provided,
any that have provided but aren't quite complete yet, that aren't being listed or being checked out?
there were two who will not be participating, because they could not provide the insurance requirements.
So they just said they forget it, whatever.
But they couldn't meet the requirements, so they understand they can't participate.
Okay.
My only thing is what happens if, because it is, what happens to a business, let's say, I'm a ABC restaurant, and they're like, well, I couldn't get it in by then, but
I have it
3
down.
days from now, they got everything they need, and they're not part of the resolution.
For both of the entities, I do not believe an additional 3 days will matter for those folks. I prefer not to list them publicly.
Oh, no, I understand, that's why I did.
For their own personal reasons. If that were to happen, Councilman, I would come back to you, but at this point, that does not appear to be an issue.
Okay.
And I'll happily speak with you in private, but I don't wanna
Well, I just.
embarrass anybody.
Right, I understand. I just wanna make sure that, sometimes it's easier to list everybody and say if they don't meet it, they'll be excluded.
Well, we want to try to crack down pursuant to our alcohol policies. Some stuff went on at the country fair, the Polish fair
Yeah, be
that
careful now.
should not have happened. And so we are going to steadily move towards what they have live on 25, which is the corrals or the beer gardens. And I think that's going to make some people unhappy next year, but we cannot have a repeat of some of the stuff that
Right.
was reported recently. So this,
Yeah, but the well, and it's apples and oranges as far as I'm concerned.
well, if you have a beer corral like you, or a
Well, I understand with the
beer
alcohol,
garden,
I'm talking about vendors, I mean,
are not gonna have as much,
country fair vendors don't pay $10 a foot. So, I mean, it's easy to, they have a lot more cash flow, believe it or not. I can't wait to see the records of what they put in. But it's different when you got, grandma all year making her Christmas tree ornaments to go pay $140 for a booth, and now she's gotta pay another $50 for all this insurance and all that stuff. It's almost prohibitive,
right.
actually.
Well, the only ones that are really doing it are businesses that are downtown.
As far as this alcohol goes, but no, every vendor's gotta get insurance.
Right.
It's prohibitive.
Where the model,
It's only if you're using the town's insurance that that's required. That we're not required that of other people that are insuring their own events. It's only on co-sponsored.
I think every vendor has to bring in insurance. Every single, of the 400 vendors, they all have to have insurance.
right, for
Either
the-
their own or the town's. So if they have their own, they're not required to pay
Right.
the extra.
but the Polish Town Fair is different because they provide their own insurance.
Right.
Well, that might be, we're looking at that. We might just do that.
So, but the real issue is for the alcohol, the Live on 25 really was the model,
Yeah, it's great.
And,
I'll tell you,
Yeah,
that-
no, I understand, 11 to, right, and that's
That's-
that ebbs and
that's
flows,
great.
and we're gonna tighten that up and make it a night, I get it, I mean, believe me, I get it.
and this is part of tightening up, so any of the, if there is anybody that's selling beer out their back door, and they don't have the insurance, and they're not on this resolution, they will probably get visited by the police department,
How about my trunk?
and there could be a
Truck of my
referral to SLA.
How about the
You know,
truck of my
we're
car?
not-
We should make sure that the police know the place.
I don't
Yeah,
drink
yeah,
it.
no, I'm
Yes.
gonna, I want the police to go visit them and get copies of the permits.
Well, I will also be speaking with the State Liquor Authority today regarding our resolution. They will have a copy of the authorized vendors as well, and I will attempt to coordinate with them regarding those activities.
Good, good.
Well, I'll tell you what, Live at 25, the way we do it there is great. We never have a problem,
No, it's
no
been
one
good.
complains,
Thank you.
and, it's great that
I
we all
can
should do
share.
that.
You heard him in the corral.
Larry?
Heard him in.
Very echoey.
Well, one of the benefits, because I received feedback from the work we've done, is family members have said, you know what, I could bring my kids down there, even in strollers, and not have to worry about the alcohol influence, because they were in the pens. I never had to worry about that. So, I mean,
They could just walk on by.
But it's
exactly,
true.
so where can you have an
It's true.
event where it
Walk
can
on
be
by and you get a
family
gutter, or
oriented,
they
but
could get
also
some
alcohol
shingles, or
service
they get
for
some
those who
solar.
wanna
Right.
partake. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so,
Okay.
are we ready to take up the resolution?
We're ready to take up the resolution.
Not a big.
Somebody wanna offer it?
Okay.
Why is there two here?
Author, what number is this?
It's 7:43, see, I gave you
open
the
the
one,
town
I
board
gave you the other one,
7:43,
that's the
okay.
number.
Did we do that?
The Pledge of
Authorizes
Allegiance.
co-sponsorship of the River
Got open to the town board?
Country Fair Street Festival on Sunday, October 8th, 2017, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with Riverhead Townscape Incorporated, along Main Street between Griffin Avenue and Union Avenue, inclusive of Peconic Avenue and the riverfront. Authorize the supervisor to execute a license agreement with designated craft food vendors, alcohol vendors, and other participants. Suspends enforcement of the Rivertown Code, Section 205-3. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and I'll officially open the town board meeting. Vote, please.
Okay, Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Since I'm a sitting member of the townscape, I'll have to abstain.
abstain, okay. Dunleavy,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
resolution adopted.
And now I make a motion, we close the town board meeting and open the, town work session. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like
Open
to
the work
publicly
session.
acknowledge Jill's efforts. I could not have moved as quickly as I did without her assistance. She did a great job.
She does too much anyway,
That's
and
right.
don't blow her head up any more than you have to.
Okay, thank you.
You gotta have a, all right, Ray, since you're here, why don't we do you first?
Where is he? He's way in the
All
bottom.
recreation
He's last.
programs.
School recreation programs. I'm rallying my girlfriends for the belly dancing classes.
Ray, that's
No,
a,
I'm rallying my girlfriends.
that's a
Sorry.
great brochure
We
you
think
put out,
it'll
by
be
the
a
way.
lot of fun.
My daughter wants to start the mentoring class.
Jill, you wanna come?
No.
Next week.
I can't.
Yeah, do it. We wanna do a live
I
feed
would
at one of the
hurt
classes.
people.
If you guys go, let me know. We'll do it there.
You wanna do it on camera, is that what you're?
We're gonna start doing live feeds.
Live
on,
feed of the,
yeah.
that's a great book, I've
Yeah, I'll
read
be
through the whole
sure to
thing.
tell you.
Yeah.
We wait for this book to come out now.
It's really, really very
The
well
bus
done.
trips they got planned this
Yeah.
year,
Very nice.
the,
All right, where's the senior citizen page?
That's towards the back. So this is probably one of the first books. This spring, summer, we started doing it, but this book, we combined all the departments together, so.
Yeah,
you'll
this is a different book than what we usually get.
Yeah, so you'll see it build up as time goes along. We actually started yesterday, the first day of registration. We did $20,000 in
Wow.
revenue.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, the bus trip sold, the Aladdin bus trip sold out in 30 minutes. And then we got a couple other ones on the brink, but we need help with some, like the Jets. Usually sells out the first day, but not this year.
Who are they playing?
About 60% sold. They're not playing the Dolphins. They're playing Dolphins this Sunday,
Yeah.
actually.
Yes, they are. They'll be
So-
0-3.
Yeah, I can't even challenge that anymore. 9/11 is another great trip. That usually sells out, so that's getting close. But if you go to page 17, this is something that the intergenerational team did.
the ghost thing.
Yeah, it's the ghost game. Yeah, so basically what
We
you
do.
you set up teams and you're gonna get clues for oh, go ahead, for visiting, for haunted locations throughout the town of Riverhead. So the team is supposed to find out exactly where it is, they won a grand prize, but it's not the New York Jets bus trip. We can't punish them, and I think and it's not till October 31st, that's when we're doing it, on Halloween, we're presenting the prize. So we're gonna give somebody either, I guess, the
Why?
closest bus trip to that.
The Jets won't turn around their season by October 31st?
I'll tell you, Radio City, a good bus trip too.
2033 maybe.
Yeah, Radio City sells out every time, so we're getting close with that, so,
Those
yeah.
are great trips.
They did some great job this year. The special events is on page 18. Touch a Truck just happened this past weekend. We had about 200 people there. It was nice. It's a great thing for the kids.
Yeah, how come the roller derby wasn't advertised?
She advertised it.
Where?
She did it through our Thursday reports. You don't get that? Every week we send out a
No, I
magazine
don't
type
get that.
report.
No.
All right, I'll
Who
Town
get-
Hall should be on it, which
Does
I don't know
anybody here
why.
get the Thursday
Nope.
reports?
No.
No, we don't get
Does
them.
the press
Well, I
get
guess
the
that's doing
Thursday
well.
reports?
See?
Well,
Catherine,
people
you
get
the
it. We know
Thursday
It's an
people.
reports?
email that
You guys don't get it either?
It's an email, right, that you
It's
send
the,
out on
it's an email,
constant
yeah.
contact.
It's an
we
email
get
goes
it.
out
I
constantly.
get things
It's
from
5,000 people
Recreation.
get it, but.
Because you've signed up recently
Maybe
for
she don't
something
do it
with
town
one of your
hall
kids or
people.
something, that's why we don't get it. We
Okay.
can
Yeah,
get
they
it.
usually.
get it home?
Yeah,
Get it
you'd have to
here.
sign up a
I
while
don't
ago,
get
but
it
we usually
home.
dump it into, it takes it out of our registration, believe it or not, the email addresses. As
Right.
long as you put your email address in your registration, it'll
Oh,
eventually
that's why I didn't.
filter in. Well, if you don't put your email address in, we can't reach you. so.
Anywho.
But
But if you-
I'll put Old Town Hall on it. whoever's
If you
not
wanna
on it.
do belly dancing with us, John, then you'll.
That's right, it
Oh,
could
really
be.
pushing the belly dancing.
See?
Oh,
The guy that
boy.
you
He's
draw
an
the
interesting
face on
teacher,
there.
that
But I would've loved to come
Belly
and
button is the
watch
mouth
that.
and, you know, the
Guys,
eyes.
you're
The
just,
girls?
there's
Yeah.
a whole image
Yeah.
here, Tim.
I used to watch it on television when it was on.
I remember that years ago. Yeah, we're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for you.
Roller derby.
Oh, yeah, I thought Carol told everyone. She did.
This is a family.
Sean,
channel.
why is your face so red?
Is he doing belly dancing too?
You stop.
He's imagining Tim.
All right, drive-in movie is this year. We have a haunted house this year. That's on October
Belly
26th
dance if you got a six
Who's
pack.
driving
and
movie
October
gonna be?
27th.
Nothing moves.
I don't know if they got the movie yet. It's a Halloween movie, but they
Oh.
haven't gotten it yet. So did she say it yet? No, she hasn't gotten it yet. So it's rather like holiday, Halloween stuff. This is obviously a fall-themed brochure. Youth programs follow that, and then
Youth planning board, is that like we're raising young
Kids.
planners for our planning board?
I love it.
Because I think maybe we could use some changes.
They're a good group of kids, yeah. They're made up of elementary school kids all the way up to middle school. And what they meet once a month, and their objective is to tell us what programs are hot for the kids, you know? And they're a fun bunch.
Probably whatever they can do on the phone
Yeah,
without
you're
talking
probably
to
right.
each other.
We're actually looking into doing some scavenger hunts,
Oh, that's
scavenger hunts, doing the geo-coaching thing, using your phone.
Yeah, that's
Like
fun.
that Pokemon game that everybody
Yeah.
was playing. We're gonna do the same thing.
That's what I call Pokemon, my,
Pokemon, yeah.
my kid's correct.
My daughter watches it every day. So, I know a lot about Pokemon. So, and then the rest is the general youth programs, the sports that we do. The intergenerational programs towards the back, I'll give you,
You have any yard sale?
the kids are doing it. So, this is Liz in the Youth Bureau. She's really doing a good job. She's offering a lot of good programs. Page 48 is our intergenerational programs. That's really starting to come out. We actually partnered with one preschool. We're partnering with another preschool on Roanoke, where we're gonna bring seniors in to read books to the kids. These are young kids. These are up till 5 years old. So we're gonna bring in the seniors to them. We're gonna look to start the seniors that are homebound. We're gonna bring some kids to them. So we're starting all this now. But archery is a new program this year. So watch out. We gotta get the insurance on that one, but, no, it's easy. Grandma and Me is a great program. I actually cited in a few of those. That's a great thing. Grandmas come with their grandkids and they do different things, story time. And that's actually building up. We had about 10, 12 last time and it continues to grow, so there's some good stuff here. And it's
Now-
evident by yesterday, so.
You know, I see you have football Or the PAL?
That's PAL, we always put PAL stuff in there,
Yeah.
so.
But the new, research they've been doing on this, actually, the youth should not be playing football until over the age of 12
Call the
because
chief.
of,
We don't do, yeah, no, I know what you're saying. We're
the
actually,
damage what they do to their
the CP,
systems
yeah.
and,
It's actually bad now, but you know what's really starting to gain popularity? Flag football.
flag
So
football, yeah.
we'll start off from that, yeah. That's starting to gain a lot of popularity. People don't want their kids to play
Where
football
they wear
anymore.
no helmet and their head gets mushed.
And
Flag
registration started
football.
yesterday.
Registration started yesterday, you can sign up online, you can call up over the phone, whatever's easier for you.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
Online's very easy, you can do it right from your smartphone and sign up that way.
Well, it
Yeah,
looks
and
beautiful.
I wanna thank your department too, because, of the parking on Pulaski Street. This
Yeah, they didn't
year,
do it this year, huh?
I'll tell you,
That
it
was
was
good.
good, it was good this year. People used the parking lots, what they're supposed to be using, and not the street.
Yeah.
Very few people, tried to park on the street, so
Yeah, we went after
you
it.
guys did a good job when you signed these people up for these parties and stuff.
It's usually the Riverhead cops that park there, but no. No, but you know,
Chiefs were talking about that
we had
last
one
night.
guy, the guy we got, it was during a Saturday tournament, I go up to him, I said, you can't park here. Well, what, how does it say that? I said, that sign that, you
It
park
says
right in
no
front. So these guys, that's what you get down there, so.
Yeah, right?
But that sign's right here, I'm parked right here.
That's right, yeah.
You park literally right in front of the sign. So that's how they are over there.
But,
But- So that's it in a
I'll tell
nutshell.
you, your department does a great job.
Thank you, thank
But
you.
I think most of these departments in this town do a good job, but, so, I wanna
They
thank your
do.
department.
We enjoy working with all of them.
You know. And you need a new sign. 'Cause you
Recreation
have two
department?
different offices. You have a park office and you have a recreation office.
Yeah, we're gonna move the sign at the recreation, the old recreation building over to the senior center, so we'll combine both signs. And then we'll get a small sign for the park, so
You
we
need
don't
to get
spend
the
a lot
park
of money.
office up there, yeah. Because people still go there because it says recreation department.
It does, but this, well, we gauged it this fall, because I always keep personnel there just in case. Yesterday, we only had 3 people show up. So,
So
which
they are
is a
going
big,
to
they
Shade
are,
Tree?
and they all went to Shade Tree, so.
Okay.
That's a lot of people in the parking lot.
So,
Registration
yeah.
started yesterday, and you said,
Now it's online. We open
you
up,
said books, trips are already booked?
just Aladdin sold out.
Okay.
That sold out, you had to get there like 8 o'clock in the morning, otherwise you weren't gonna get it.
Wow.
How are your seats at Radio City?
They're good, they're good. They usually,
I go there all the time with my mom.
it's actually orchestra seats, they're pretty good. She gets a good, because we get a good deal on it, because we get 2 buses every year for it.
Nice shot.
With the
That's
Jets.
where we went. We used to go every year with my mom.
You're
I'm
pushing-
appealing to the public,
you're-
please buy the jet tickets.
You're pushing the Jets.
Because we
huh?
can't sell them on the street anymore.
Not again.
All Falcon fans, that's all, you gotta appeal
Well,
to the
Atlanta's a
Falcons.
good team, they're a Super Bowl team,
Right.
so.
That's Eric Goodell. Every Falcons, when he lived behind my house, Eric Goodell had the Falcons flag out every
I'll
Sunday.
give them credit, 'cause they stunk for so many years, now they're actually pretty good. So the Jets might get 1 win this year, that'll be against Miami this Sunday, right?
Make it easy.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay.
We'll do the
The
post,
thing is, you're probably right.
we'll do the postmortem on
Good thing-
Monday.
Good thing you don't have a trip to the Giants. You'll never get no one to sign up for that one.
The Giants, actually, we should have done it this year. They don't do the group tickets like the Jets.
That's it, see?
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Jody, chapter 255, traffic patterns. What is chapter 255? We changed all this stuff, so.
This is chapter 90s.
Chapter 255 is the Chapter 90 applications, and I'm sure you've been getting the emails, as I have also, stating that, you know, when people are closing down roads for runs or for, you know, different events, when they're closing down streets and people are used to taking those roads, I think that it would be a good idea to have signs, have them go buy a couple of signs
The
to hang
Comic
on
Bay
the
Medical
posts.
Center does that. They go around the route and they post the
Yeah.
signs announcing the date and time when that
Right.
run's gonna be and when the roads are closed, so
To
that's.
say when the roads are closed, so
Yeah.
that people can plan accordingly if they have to get somewhere, rather than getting log jammed.
But the problem is, we have a sign ordinance. And now we're gonna have all these, now we're gonna have all these signs,
True.
huh?
But
So I
it's-
mean, I don't understand.
Why don't we start with the political signs and get rid of those?
Oh, I'll get mine up already, baby.
I would support that wholeheartedly, to get away with, do
No,
away
I
with
think
all
one-
political
I
signs.
think one at the beginning of where the street is getting closed off, and one at the end of where the street is getting closed off, and just say, you know, Pulaski Street between Ostrander and, you know,
Well, I'm not opposed to that. I think the notification is the biggest thing. I mean,
we know it, because we have a calendar, we see it. There's sometimes, you know, we have 4 or 5 events a day, and you just can't, let's just sit home or go nowhere, but,
Who's paying for the signs and where, I mean?
well, I think we just notify
The
the
applicants
people.
would have to
I mean,
when
how
they're
do we get-
like closing the
We gotta get it out
roads.
more. We gotta get it more out to the
Okay.
public when these events are, and I don't know how to do that.
Well, we could at least put it on the town on the town website as an upcoming event, as a.
It is.
But 2 weeks ago, I was behind
Most of them don't go up on there.
No.
groups of bikers coming from Connecticut, going to Washington DC. We did not know anything about it. They even stopped here at Town Hall to use our bathrooms. So a lot of times, we don't know about these things if they come from other states.
I know,
They
but
just
when we
fly
do,
through. Huh?
but
Yeah,
when
right.
we do,
We
I
know
think
about
it
the
might be a good
majority of them.
idea.
Right, we can control what's within our own grasp.
Yeah,
but
we can control, we, 255.
You should make it a record.
I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, I'm wanting to know what
The
everybody's
only way it
feelings
would
is on
work.
it.
We would have to have our own sign, I guess in the clerk's office, that, like a
No.
site plan sign, and then you would, but I don't know anybody's gonna pay attention to it.
Yeah,
so
who's
you'd-
gonna take them down after the thing?
Well, that would be a requirement, just like political signs have to be taken down within 2 weeks after the election.
Which don't happen.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
but I
does.
mean, you could
No,
do,
Town
all
up pretty
political
close.
sides don't have.
Sure it does,
Sheriff
but you don't get your money
primary
back,
signs
you
all
don't
over
take
the
it.
Well,
We-
who checks
we-
on that?
No, I
We,
do.
the town,
I want my money back. I have to sign affidavits, I never remove
Well,
them.
yeah, well, you do, but the county and the state people don't.
I mean, just like we give out,
gotta take
for
our money down
subdivision
anyway.
You
applications.
live here, that's why.
For subdivision applications and for site plans, we give out signs, like, similar to
We
those,
have to
just these
print the
small
sign.
signs that they can post on a pole
Official
saying road
notice.
closure,
Take it.
road closure, the date, the time, and,
so design a sign, and, we'll get it printed, and when we do the resolution,
and we'll
That
charge
would-
for them. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to pay for them, however much they cost, we'll charge for
what's
them.
chapter
Just
ninety-two
get the
fifty-five
court blast.
application
I
cost?
got plenty of racks if you want them. It's like garage, I'll never use it.
Unless it's a large event,
Right.
then it's more. I think it's up to
So find out what the signs cost and design one, and we can add it to the resolution that they have
That's a
to
great
post, so we'll
idea.
give the signs, have to post it, and
Good,
Yeah, because we do the special permit
Right.
signs,
Be that
which are
kinda
just
sign.
cardboard, you know.
right.
So,
Yeah.
road
something
So
closure.
similar
instead of
to
special
that.
permit, it would just say road closure,
Right,
and
right.
then,
Right, yeah.
can
No,
Design
you
fill
have
in
to have
the
a
date.
sign so you can read it in the car.
Has to be
These
readable.
special
I know.
permit
I
signs,
know, they're tiny.
that,
I know.
you can't read those
I
something,
know,
especially when you're driving fast. What does that say? Huh?
That's a whole
Okay, good.
science
So
on how to
Diane
read
and I will
those
work on
signs.
that.
Yep,
Good.
yep, come to me.
great.
All right, safe routes to schools, Thomas, no, Joey's not
God.
here, Frank.
That's gotta be 10 years old.
I know, we keep talking about it, I'm wondering when it's
I remember
gonna
we got
become
that, I think it was
safe.
2008.
Perhaps it's a little older, but
Yeah, this
calling it-
predates me.
We're
Who's awarded?
calling it Safe Routes to School Redo.
It was awarded in 08, I
Good.
believe.
Because I had a meeting this past week with Andrea Picar from the middle school and Lieutenant Lassard in the crossing guard, because it's mayhem in the morning, dropping your kids off at the middle school, and, you know, everybody was saying, what happened to the safe routes to school? So I'm anxious to hear what you have to say.
So, you know, Frank worked on this project years ago, and we, I guess at some point or another, kinda got stalled a little bit, and then the county did some work on Roanoke Avenue that sort of overlapped some of the things that were going on here. And so it needed a relook. And we had done some, we drew down on some of the money for, some work that we had done on a plan.
Sidewalks.
And then, when I came, we took a new look at it to see whether we wanted to continue to pursue it, but we needed to make some changes. So I'm gonna turn it over to Frank, and he can explain to you what we did, but and I'll give you just the basic overview would be, rather than doing, because there were major changes on Cranberry Street, including the one-way, which was one of the.
Yeah, Cranberry Street, we didn't do anything on because,
And that became sort of the sticking point, and I think that was part of the reason it kinda got stalled, but anyway, rather than doing, some of the improvements on Cranberry Street were made by the county, but the
Yes.
sidewalks, it's too narrow for sidewalks, and nobody wanted one-way there.
right.
So we decided to think about whether we could take the money we had allotted to those improvements and shift them over and create a sidewalk, complete the sidewalk from Harrison around the curve on School Street all the way down to the top of Pulaski where they did, you know, where the fields are,
that'd
because
be
the
a great
kids are
idea.
walking.
Finally, a sensible
yeah.
solution to this.
So
Yeah.
the kids are walking from the high school to the fields down there, and they're in the street, and now that the bus barn is going away,
I was gonna say, that whole one-way might be revisited now there's bus garage in there.
maybe, but at this particular juncture, we were hoping to just kinda like put this thing back on the track and let's go, so
Sounds
I'll
like a
let,
good plan.
Okay.
yeah, I'll let Frank give you the
Frank,
details.
While you're talking about this, think about Osborne Avenue. There's a crosswalk and there's a handicap ramp on the east side sidewalk, and there's no handicap ramp on the west side. So you can go down with a handicap, you can have a crosswalk to go across the street, but then you have a curb on the other side, which should be a handicap accessible. If you have one on one side, you should have it on the other side.
Highway
And it's
Department
not
will
there,
take care of
huh?
that. They did one last year on the corner of School Street and, Harrison. It was the same exact scenario.
Yeah, I don't know, who
So,
takes it easy?
Geo went down and
Yeah,
then
let's
took
do
care
half,
of
and,
that.
we'll get them in the street, and we won't get them out of the street.
Give it to Huck.
Yeah.
So, look at that,
Just
it's
because
right
of your fault,
in the
stop
middle of,
kicking everything my way.
the, Flaherty
Well,
Street School,
act like an
where the
adult.
parking lot is now.
Sure.
Just,
Like an
just
adult.
north of the parking lot, okay?
Okay, Frank, you wanna do your report for us? Tell us where we're at.
We're at the point where we progressed final design, we're ready to go ask for permission to advertise, from the DOT. We reached out to them, a couple of weeks ago. They had us, fill out some, newer environmental forms because it's been, lingering for quite a while. So we filled those out. Engineering, redid the sidewalks like Dawn had spoken about in the plans. And we met with, the school district, they're on board with the project.
The school board, not yet, but Mark Finnerty was supportive of us pursuing that, so we were gonna.
Well, we own School Street, don't we?
But the sidewalk would be on the,
School property.
yeah.
Would it?
Yeah.
So, but we want them to be supportive of it and think it's a good idea also, so we did include them in our initial meeting when we talked about this. So they are thus far without committing the school board, we haven't done that yet, but we wanna make sure DOT says okay first, and then we'll go back and say, okay.
They were on board with one-way Cranberry Street earlier too, because when we came here in 2010, they sat right at this table and said, okay, that's fine, and then we did it, and then
It's always sort of like a
They
chicken
weren't.
and the egg thing, because, we don't wanna waste their time if the DOT says,
Right.
this
So
isn't
let's
gonna
see if the
work, so
DOT
that's
will-
where we're going.
The school
have a-
district didn't want the one-way on Cranberry because they felt that a lot of people come from Roanoke Avenue, right onto School Street,
Yeah.
and that it would cause too much traffic congestion to force everybody to go all the way down to Pulaski Street and then come down School Street from there. Or the only other way to get onto School Street would be from,
Harrison Road?
Harrison. So they just felt that those intersections would get too congested if you blocked off Roanoke from two-way
except that
traffic.
in 2010, they agreed with
And
it.
I know, Frank, you wanna just go
And
over
they
the
did agree
budget and
with it in
explain
2010.
how we work the budget, so that it's similar. That's how we got to doing this project.
Where we left off with Safe Routes to Schools, we reimbursed, for the bulk of all the final design. Right now, to reactivate the funding, it's gonna be somewhere around 444,000. We originally had 474,000 total, and it was all federal aid. So with the additional sidewalk work, engineering came up with an estimate that comes in around 385,000. So, we are going to be submitting this to the DOT. We'd like to get a meeting with them, get them on board, get the permission to advertise, and
So it's wholly funded by DOT.
Can I see
Yes.
one of those? And who did you meet with at the school district?
Mark Finnerty,
Okay, so he was the only person that you met with? Okay.
at this point, yes.
Because we're trying to schedule a meeting next week with the new school superintendent, with Lieutenant Lassard, with Mrs. Picar. So can you, before you submit this, can you let me have that meeting with the school district first? And a school board member also, just to
What
see
are you
if
guys
there's.
trying to do this?
They're just trying to, because the overall plan was, when they were getting rid of the bus barn, they were going to be, it was the intention that they were going to be using some of that property for parking, so that they could free up the parking area and the turnaround for the middle
We're
school.
gonna knock that building down.
Right, and now, they're still knocking
put
down the
fields
building,
there.
but they're gonna put fields there, but then the parking that they're gonna have there is not going to be for, you know, the people that are parking in the middle school drop-off parking lot right now. And it's creating a problem because people pull in and they try and park, and then they're trying to back out, and there's lines of people waiting to drop their kids off. So if I could just have until the end of next week to sit with the school board and Lieutenant Lassard.
I agree a little bit with what Jody's saying. I mean, I drop my daughter a couple times a week, but it's such a short-lived period of time. It's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well, whatever, you know, obviously, we'd love to hear what they have to say, and
Yeah.
if we wanna do a little tweaking before we go back, that's great too.
See, there's any downside to this for the school?
Good.
No, we thought it was a simple way to spend the money to really create some safety.
Is this
improvements
a
there,
design
so-
that they're calling for $385,000?
All
Yeah.
we ever need
Is that
is
curbing both
somebody to
sides of the
simplify.
street as well?
It's, they have it curbing,
Yeah.
I know they have it on the west side where the fields are.
I don't think they had curbing on the east side, did they?
No.
No,
No.
I didn't see it on these.
That's gonna be beautiful back there.
It'd be nice if they
We
It's
need
all-
an easement from the school district though to do the work.
Probably. So we're gonna
We do
just
need school board.
kind of incrementally move forward and make sure that everybody is agreeing and thinking this works, and if that happens, then we'll get it done. We're hoping to maybe go to bid and have it done over next
It's
summer.
such a grading issue
So
on
that
that
we
side
don't,
of the street.
there is, and Ernesto and Drew were great about, you know, looking at that, and, we had the plans that we
They
worked on
tag teamed
before,
it.
so, yeah. They're amazing, and, we were really, they just, like, quick, turn it over, and here we are, ready to go, so.
Good.
Yeah, so that's Safe Routes to Schools redo.
Great.
It's fantastic. We've been waiting 9 years for this.
That's
Spec-
right.
A
Yeah,
fantastic.
I remember when it came in, I was still a school bus driver. I was like, yeah, we're gonna get some fields.
Fantastic and spectacular.
I never even, when it first came in, I didn't even understand what they were talking about.
Well, this is a
that.
simple,
This is very simple,
That's what
very
we like.
straightforward, no major intersections, just get it
Yep.
done.
So we're
That's
just,
all.
we're working with everybody, make sure it goes along, and Frank's been great about getting all this budget stuff
Okay.
squared away and all the paperwork. and
But
all
I
that.
know all the locals know about Cranberry Street, but I think the school district's trying to make an effort to make everybody appreciate the school district and the campus from Osborne and Harrison, that really are the main entrances to these schools.
Yes.
And should be. So more people should be encouraged to use, because it's such a beautiful campus, and it's gonna be even better once the
It's
bus garage is
amazing.
done. It's showcasing from the front.
Yes.
The back door should be
And
somewhat
it's
closed.
and
I
it's
would
getting
think.
there, the difference between what it looks like now and
Oh.
what it looked like 10 years ago is
gorgeous.
phenomenal.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's good. All right.
All right,
that's
thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
you.
You
I
want-
didn't know,
I have the next one.
Oh,
too.
yeah,
You want me to-
PSC and
I didn't know the
downtown
school
grant.
district had so many buses that they park up on Edward
They got a lot
Jelly
of
up
kids,
there.
It
man.
looks like a
Gotta
ghost
haul
town
in.
now in the bus barn
does,
area.
yeah. Haul
It's
in.
great. I always thought, what an amazing thing to make a great contiguous campus there, like get rid of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
That
beautiful.
was in
Putting
the way.
fields
Yeah,
in,
you're
aren't
right.
they?
Plus you get rid of the gas
Yes,
dock
they're
and all
doing
that stuff.
fields
It's
and
not good
parking
to have.
area.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
What kind of fields are they doing?
Just regular grass.
I think more like an all-purpose type field.
Yep.
They're gonna leave the administrative office there too, or are they thinking about, gonna get that out of there too?
They're gonna tow it away?
It's been there for a long.
Been there for a long
It's a
time.
trailer, isn't it?
Well,
It's like a trailer or
it's a,
two
it's
or
a
three.
it's a
Modular
modular.
home.
Yeah, it's like those
Brian Stark?
classrooms they put in.
Yeah, it's like, the court system over in Southampton.
I wish they'd get rid of that,
All
too, put that
modular
somewhere else.
together.
Word of mouth, so you can get up and leave
Yeah.
when you want. So PSEG has a pilot program for downtown revitalization grants that they started in July, and we were notified about. And we poked around a little. There's two different opportunities. One is for capital type improvements or grants towards events and things to downtown. And then there's a smaller grant that's available to store owners that have vacant spaces for in excess of a year. So if there's a meter there that hasn't been running for a year, somebody that reoccupies that space can get a $1,500 grant to offset their electric cost for the year.
Wow.
The other grant, the bigger grant is possibly up to $100,000, and it's available not only to municipalities, but private people and not-for-profits. So we sat with them, and Tracy Stark, Georgia Malone, me, Joey, and two representatives from PSEG, John Keating and Alex Nihilus, and went over it, and we came up with, after about knocking it around for a month, two potential projects. One is the BIDMA would like to do a Fire and Lights Art Walk Festival. So basically, it's the installation, would be an art walk installation of, and it's really beautiful, it's repurposed metal objects, so it would be tanks or like mooring balls that are cut with torches, and they're permanently mounted, and then they're fire inside them, and so they would have a festival, and they would light these items, and then they'd have, you know, that, so that there's an opportunity for a grant. PSCG thought it was a good application. There's some additional.
Not in the water, though.
Not in the water.
No,
not
it's
in the
like
water.
behind the Hyatt,
It'd be
they
Grand,
have one
it'd be
of
Grangeable
the
and
earth.
some other, yeah.
And
They
it's
would
cut
have
out, they're really nice.
Metal balls on fire? What?
It's, I know it's hard to visualize, but if you go to the British Virgin Islands, which hopefully is still, this place is still there, there's a place that does a full moon party, and they have these old mooring balls, and they're beautifully, they look like lace. When
They're
you
metal.
light
Oh,
them
they're
from
actually,
inside.
actually etched and stuff.
Yeah,
So
they're
it's
carved
like a
with a-
votive candle on a
Yes,
much bigger
correct,
scale.
but they're
Okay.
amazingly beautiful.
All right, I get it.
So that's what they're looking to do. So we're gonna, work with Bidman to help apply for that.
It's just a one-shot, oh, is it permanent?
No, it'd be permanent installation, and you can add to it.
Oh, I
And you
see.
could have events around it, but it would be also available for people to, you know, look at during the day. It wouldn't be lit, obviously, on a regular, other than during the event
Oh.
times.
Okay, all right, I get it.
So it'd be sort of a winter companion to Live on 25.
I get it.
You know,
How are we doing with the, when do we get the results as to whether or not we get the parking garage study money?
I gotta look. I think towards the end of this year. I
Okay,
was thinking about that yesterday.
because that might
It's not
be
just
a good,
parking garage though, right?
No, it's parking placement.
Right, yeah.
right,
Plan.
parking placement plan,
Parking
good.
garage.
But that might be something
will
that you
be.
could use this PSCG capital funding for also, once we get that,
Well,
once we get a
that's-
plan.
That's another opportunity. The other thing that they were fascinated by was a private project, which will be done not with the help of our office, but not by our office, which would take the Rimland building and divide it into 4 smaller rentable spaces, because the lengthy, big box stores that we have downtown are
You're
obsolete.
talking about the old Lentons now, Jeffrey building next to the church?
Correct, yeah, so it would be to, because that building's was occupied fairly recently, we did some work, Brad went down, we met with Georgia, and, really her concept that you really need to get the spaces rentable, so if you had a shorter space,
Mhm.
it's much more, useful, so,
If the landlords would put even a dime into some of these buildings,
so they have this,
Well,
for
they
one
had
item.
a purpose store there for years.
Yeah, well,
Just
you know, the large stores downtown are not rentable anymore.
Correct, so that
It
this
used to be,
would,
when Bohawks was there, and when
Mhm.
all the grocery stores were there, they were large stores. Now, you want small stores,
yeah.
down there, so people can walk in and out. and
Correct,
everything.
50
and
years
that's
ago.
exactly what George, this is really George's idea, and she loved the
Grants was
width
thinking
of
of
that
that.
store, because you could really split it up into 4.
And it makes for more of a
Yes,
boutique-y
so
type
they're
atmosphere that
doing
you
all the
would have.
legwork, but I think they have the owner's blessing to apply,
Oh,
so.
Jeff would let anybody do it, they went, yeah.
So
he was
if we
pretty
can get that
accommodating.
done, so that's basically what we're doing with PSEG, it's a brand new grant,
Design it
so.
themselves.
Well, that's what
see
they did with
what
the,
flies and-
Ralph's Italian Ice and Blue Duck, and then the,
Yes,
farm
yeah,
store
and this could, you know,
for the
we'll
Zaweski's
we'll see
next door.
where we go with it, but we're
Yeah,
working on it, so
that building filled up after they broke it up into 3 different stores.
Yeah, and it's turned over to the
Yeah.
one, that there was a pizza
Yeah.
in there.
Well, they
and,
did the
Now
same
they
thing
have
with
the
Richard
farm
York.
to
kitchen,
table.
which is,
They did
yeah.
the same
a
thing with
farm to
Richard
kitchen.
York, they made into Mazzy, into the
Yeah.
Yo-Go or
Yeah,
Froyo.
yeah,
Yep.
the same thing, that's what you need.
Small space.
Yeah, well, what happened, let me ask you a question, what happened to the park that was between, the church and Rimlands? The last celebration, if you watch it on television,
What do you think?
they're sitting in a park there.
What about Lombardi Park?
No,
I don't
it's
know,
the,
where,
it's the old driveway between your church
With
Send me
Benjamin
that
Place.
Denise.
and,
There was a park?
there was a park, she's sitting there,
Well, remember, there was a First Street there at one point. That First Street was ripped out in the late 70s, but,
have you seen that,
and then you had
the celebration on
Fenimore
TV?
Myers' house and all that stuff.
Well,
Right.
she's
So there
sitting,
was
Meyer
there
is
was
sitting right
grassland
there.
there. There
That was her
grass-
store at the time,
Whose store?
Meyer, that was Meyer.
Yeah, right.
You're right. So she's sitting right there on a bench in the park, right next to her store.
He could get to that store underground, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Did you know that? From his house?
Yep,
No, I didn't know that. Yeah.
That's tricky.
yep.
Huh?
It's part of the Richard
One of
Wine's
your church?
history, one of Richard
Where'd they
Wine's
live?
history lessons.
Right there, where the lawyer's office is.
So they
house is
they
still
went
there.
under your church.
Are we gonna have it,
Huh?
No, they didn't belong to our church.
Where was the tunnel then?
They were at St. John's.
Oh.
Sounds
All
like
right,
a great
anyway,
grant.
we
Anyway.
digress.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
what we're
Okay,
working
we
on,
gotta go.
and
We're
that's
going
our,
off subject.
that's our report for today. That's all the
Okay.
news from CDA.
All right,
Excellent.
thank you,
Thank
you're
you.
doing a great
Good
job.
job,
Yeah,
Thank you.
great
Don't
job.
go too
Rah, rah,
crazy
rah.
now,
You wanna
right?
take one of
Kill
these,
it.
another one for this,
Yeah,
school
thank you.
district?
No.
All right,
yes,
so
go.
unfortunately, we have, well, two executive session things. TC Industries, which I know
Listen,
nothing
the
about.
5K walk is this Sunday at Tanger for breast
Yeah.
cancer. Make sure you're there, be there or be square.
All right, can I get a motion to
Okay.
go to executive session?
I make a motion, we close the town board work session and go into executive session for litigation, personnel, and personnel.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion carried. Oh, and seconded.